major production values.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all to the Tuesday, July 23rd, 2013 Board of Supervisors meeting. We will begin this meeting with the flag salute led by me. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We want to show Robert where he sits.
Oh, is this a good time for you? Will the clerk please read the statement of meeting procedures?
Welcome to the Placer County Board of Supervisors meeting of Tuesday, July 23rd, 2013. Agendas are available on a chair outside this meeting room. If you are here to speak on an issue not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment period. There's a 3-minute time limit per speaker. The board is not permitted to take action on items addressed under public comment. When you speak, clearly state your name and address for the record. All items on the agenda will be open for the public to address before final action is taken. There's a 3-minute time limit per speaker, which will be monitored by a timer on the podium. If there's a person speaking on behalf of a group with no other testimony from another member of the group, please identify yourself as such, and your time may be extended at the pleasure of the board. Keep in mind that the chairman has discretion of limiting the total discussion time on any item. It is requested that all cell phones be either turned off or put in the silent mode. Thank you for your participation and cooperation.
Thank you, Ann. Before we open it up for public comment, I just want to let you know that Supervisor Duran will not be joining us today. And now it is time for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board on any item that's not on the agenda? Good morning.
Good morning. Ellie Waller, Tahoe Vista resident. This item was on yesterday's agenda. There was no request for public comment after the Tahoe City Golf Course informational item, and I just was wondering if those presentations are online to the public anywhere. Also, the BMP map, and it was mentioned that there's a local BMP contractor for the golf course project, and I was wondering who that was. I'm also requesting that the board make every effort to hear the North Star Forest Flyer at the next calendared Tahoe meeting, as it was taken off the agenda by the applicant with no specific date, in that there should be robust public comment on that, I suspect. Last year, I asked the board if it was possible to find an on-site location for Tahoe items that are being heard in Auburn, maybe at the public comment period at the beginning, and then whenever that item could possibly be put at the beginning of the agenda, so if weather prohibits. And that also for the TRPA meetings that Larry Sevenson and alternate Jennifer might have to attend on South Shore when there's heavy snowstorms. The only off-site office available is in Auburn. Thank you.
Do you have those comments written down for the...
Oh, and one last one. Living History Day is this Saturday at Urban Mansion, and it's a great event. The docents dress in period. There's approximately 25 antique cars there, and it's a wonderful afternoon. Jennifer attended last year.
Okay.
It's a really worthy event to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board under public comment? Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, and welcome to Lake Tahoe. It's great to see you in your kind of casual attire and really feeling comfortable here in North Lake Tahoe. So, okay.
It smelled good, so I just put it on.
Well, as I like to do every time you get up here into Tahoe, is just kind of give you a brief update on some of the things that we're working on so that you know what we're going to be coming forward to you with in terms of recommendations in the future. And Right now, we've got this year about $2.1 million going into the following projects. We've got the North Lake Tahoe Water Shuttle, which is actually experiencing a 30% increase in ridership over last year. Not quite still where we'd like to be, but we hope that we'll be able to continue it through next year. We may need to subsidize it a little bit more, but that's something that I think we're starting to see the popularity grow on. We've got the Dollar Creek Bike Trail that we're contributing funds to, the North Star Martis Valley Multi-Purpose Trail, and the Homewood Trail. So again, we're working on that systemic-wide master plan of trail systems, and we're hoping to complete those. We've got the Truckee River Corridor Access Plan, a Lighthouse Tart bus shelter, and a Snow Creek Wetlands wayfinding signage and Tahoe Cross Country wayfinding signage, which is also working for their bike trails this summer. So those things are all in the works, and you've already approved funding for that. Now coming and anticipated things that we're working on right now, about $500,000 in projects. You're going to hear about the community house today, which we have approved funding for. The regional wayfinding signage and installation, we're actually going to be looking at getting about 15 signs in the ground, hopefully before the end of this summer. So excited about that. An ice skating facility for North Lake Tahoe. We're having some conversations about that, possibly at the golf course, possibly at the North Regional Park. So there's some different locations that we're looking into. We've got the Tahoe Golf Course parking study that we're going to be doing. We're looking at that Grove Street area. If you remember when you were out golfing yesterday, towards the end of that, we think we can put some additional parking, which will assist in the downtown circulation. We've got a Kings Beach Pier study that we're going to be doing and looking at how we might elongate that pier and make it more accessible to our water shuttle program. We've got the Squaw Valley Trail snow removal. We've done that now for 2 years as a pilot project. I think it's been very successful, and we've seen a lot of people on those trails. So we'd like to see how do we continue to do that in perpetuity. We've got the North Lake Tahoe Holiday Lighting Project. Again, we started that last year with Kings Beach, Tahoe City, really trying to light up and create a sense of entry into the lake area during the winter season. So we'll be taking a look at that again. Squaw Valley Entrance Tart Bus Shelter. This is something that Squaw Valley is really requesting that we take a look at that bus shelter there, which is kind of falling apart, really needs to be upgraded. We have approved that funding several years ago. We were waiting on really identifying the correct location for that bus shelter, depending on whether we do a museum or redevelopment out at the entrance there. We're going to be looking at the Olympic Museum, and we've got another location that we're really trying to see if it might be available to us on the other side of the Polson property where the 7-Eleven is, so we're going to be investigating that. And then we've got the coordinated ski shuttle that we did last year. We learned a lot from that, and there may be some components of it that we can bring back that would be cost effective this year. So these are things that are all in conversation right now, just to let you know we're not letting the ground dry up underneath our feet. Thank you.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, I'm Bill Clark. I'm the president of the Squaw Valley Olympic Museum Foundation, and I just wanted to briefly play off what Sandy just said, that our foundation is still alive, and we're still working on solutions to bring this project to reality. As you know, we've done 4 years now of really diligent, hard work to come up with solutions and a vision to create this Olympic Museum and Winter Sports Heritage Center that's going to be a real feather in the cap for Placer County. And we're really excited with some of the recent conversations we've had with the staff to really think out of the box of some of the already out of the box discussions and options that we've explored over the last couple of years. So we're really hoping in the next couple of months we can come back with some solutions to bring this thing to a reality. So that's all. Oh, and I should have said my address, Soda Springs, California.
Anyone else wish to address the board under public comment? Morning.
Good morning. I'm Ed Henneveld. I'm a 35-year resident of the Valley. I live across the meadow, and welcome. I addressed you about 6 months ago in January when you were up here. And my big concern, and just want to update you a little bit, is about the KSL development that's being proposed in the village, just down the road here. And today, more a little bit about the process that I feel is flawed and a possible solution. So, and my wife told me to read this because I go off track, but I feel passionate about my message. You'll understand at the end. So KSL, the development group that's got this proposal for the village, has proposed something that I feel is over the top, and I'm speaking as an individual, but also as a participant in the Friends of Squaw Valley, a grassroots group that has mounted a response to this concern. So I'm really frustrated by the process. We have a 30-year-old general plan, now called a community plan, that just lacks guidance for this new development, or any new development. It's 30 years old and hasn't been updated. So this brings this developer to the field, to our community, with an opportunity to propose almost anything he wants, 14, 18-story buildings, whatever. KSL is a private equity fund whose main goal is to maximize return on investment. They're not here for the long term. We're going to inherit whatever they build. They said they would sell when the price was right. So at this point, all we know about this village, the NOP came out last fall, comments ended in January, and Jennifer has told us that basically we're not going to see this project until the draft EIR comes out. That's the way it works. So we're going to have to sit for a year and a half while the county and this developer negotiate revisions which they think is the best solution. Jennifer also charged us with the notion that we as a community should not just say no to this project, but say what we want. So in response to that challenge, the Friends of Squaw Valley was formed. It's a grassroots group, and it's not trying to stop the project, not trying to sue the developer, but we want to articulate a community voice and a vision of what we would like to see in a successful village at the end of the day. Basically, what we are doing is what the county should have done many years ago, and that's update the general plan. Of course, we're not going to do it in the detail that would have happened, but conceptually, we can move forward with a set of successful village guidelines based on values that are important to us as a community. We can pose an alternative village design that we'd like to share with you in the near future to stand in contrast to what's being proposed right now, or at least what we know is being proposed right now. And we're spending our own money to do that. So back to the flawed process. For 1 year, I told you, the county planners and the developer have been meeting, basically in secret, at least to the exclusion of the public, discussing various revisions to the project. A few weeks ago, the Sierra Sun front page article talked about how this development and the developer is now kind of going back to the drawing board. May I continue? Yeah. That KSL was going to rework their proposal and update their plan. The community's been shut out. So now's the perfect time to open that process, get the community involved, minimizing forthcoming agony and pain that's going to be inevitable if the community is excluded, and engage an independent outside consultant to arbitrate between the developer and the community. Do this proactively now instead of after lawsuits, judges' rulings, further project delay. And there's precedent for this. If you remember what happened down in Mammoth, Interwest came in and proposed an outrageous village. And the town hired this consultant to come in and negotiate middle ground. It also happened in Whistler. Actually, the same guy, a land use developer and a community planner and their director of community development for 8 years, came in and found common ground between the developer and the community. So I feel all of us, the county, the developer, and the community, want the same outcome. A successful, vibrant village in Squaw. So now's the time to let the community into this process. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wish to address the board under public comment? Good morning.
How you doing? My name's Nick Novo. I'm with the Placer County Fair Board member, and I'm actually here to kind of discuss the Placer County Fair. We have Country in the Park coming, and I've provided the board with a packet that we've provided the city of Roseville. We worked on this plan in depth and kind of anything that the city, we've had 2 meetings with the city of Roseville, and based on those meetings, those were some of the concerns they had. We've addressed those concerns, worked on those plans, parking plans, street plans, security plans, and we've also included it in the packet. We're very excited to have such a prestigious event coming to the Placer County Fairgrounds. The actual headliner for it is Darius Rucker. It's a big name artist. It's going to draw a lot of people into the fairgrounds. It's going to be a successful event for the fair. The main thing that I wanted to kind of present is just our thanks to the county for all their support. They provided the Placer County Fairgrounds during this event, working with the city. And the Fair Board is backing this event 100%. And these type of events that draw to the fairgrounds is going to open up into more large events where we can really make the fairgrounds in the Placer County very successful. And it's going to be a great draw to the community, and we're going to basically bring a lot of people from other areas of the state for this event. And this is the first event, which is about less than 4 weeks away. So again, from the Placer County Board, we want to thank the county, and with all their support they provided us. So thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the board under public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, and we'll move to our 9:10 timed item. Oh, wait, we got to have supervisor committee reports. Any reports from supervisors? No reports, thank you. We'll move to consent agenda, and I have to announce that item 19K, there's an error in the memo as to the award of bid. R1 Snow Removal Incorporated of Truckee is not getting award of bid and should be removed from the list for approval. So any other items on the consent agenda that need to be pulled for discussion? Anyone in the audience wish to pull any consent items off the agenda for discussion? Seeing none, I'll bring it. Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda with the item that was removed. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oh, roll call, I'm sorry, yes.
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 Yes, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. And now we'll move to our 9:10 timed items, a commendation to the Placer Arts on their 30th Jubilee celebrating arts and humanities in Placer County, and this will be presented by Supervisor Wygant.
So I see Stephen back there. Is Angie with you? I can't see her. If you guys come up to the podium, I'm going to fake my way through this resolution and then come down and hand it to you, and you guys will get a chance to rebut anything that I said that you might want to take exception to. So July 23rd, 2013, in the matter of commending Placer Arts for its 30th anniversary, in essence. Whereas Placer Arts as a catalyst for arts and humanities has been building community in Placer County since 1983, Placer Arts believes that art should be a part of everyday living, and that when it is, everyone in the community benefits from a higher quality of life. Whereas they are designated the state local partner, California Arts Council, programs and services encourage and enable residents and visiting public to experience art in all degrees. Placer Arts promotes the good work of a constellation of arts and culture agencies, as well as that of independent visual, performing, and literary artists, and in doing so generate joy, stimulate the imagination as well as the economy. Provide district and school-wide planning assistance for arts and education programs from pre-kindergarten through grade 12, and for special constituencies. You engage in professional artists and technicians to present dozens of annual public arts and cultural events, and provide art-based prevention and health human services. Serve as a clearinghouse for information on the arts in Placer and the Sierra Nevada Range. Placer Arts and its partner Placer Arts 360 organizations present quality visual art exhibits, tours, professional performing arts, and community theatrical literary events that add significantly to the quality of life to the residents of Placer County. Whereas the old library art studio in the historic Carnegie Library is home to 6 artists in residence, and the Arts Building in Auburn is home to 7 artists in residence. Number of public programs including the Arts Building Gallery, which offers world-class exhibits throughout the year. Placer Arts partners with businesses in Old Town and downtown present popular Auburn Art Walk 4 times a year, which has increased discovery of and spending in local businesses. Whereas Placer Arts is much more than a producer of events, playing an often invisible but vital backstage role to connect parents, teachers, schools, county education officials to increase arts in the schools, provide technical expertise and inspiration to artists and sister arts organization, write grant proposals, meet with community organizations such as the Chambers of Commerce, Economic Development, offer to develop strategies to keep the county vibrant. So therefore, essentially, we acknowledge your 30th year anniversary and congratulate you. And with that, I will bring this down to you. And then
the screen, Robert. Such a bad backdrop. Should do the screen. Robert, try the screen. That's a better backdrop.
Would you hate me if I ask all of you to come to the photo? I know it's not usual, but it's truly a partnership, so will you please join us? I'm not going to say much because I need to save my energy for the next 30 years. But I do want to acknowledge the great partnership and among my peers and the state local partners throughout California, the true partnership with the County of Placer and the Board of Supervisors and the CEO's office is recognized. And I just want to say thank you, and let's keep her going. And this is my board chair, Stephen Leese.
And I would just basically add to that. It is a privilege to serve in our community. It is a privilege to be connected to the arts. It is absolutely incredible because my 1-year-old, actually my 6-month-old daughter was the one, and our children teach us many different things, but she reintroduced me to light, texture, and color that's all around us. It's within us from the first day we're born. The culture, the humanities, and the arts have always been with us. They always will be. Thank you for the partnership that we have, and I look forward to continuing it and growing it.
Thanks, Stephen.
You know, I wanted to mention that locally we're really excited about working with the North Tahoe Business Association and the Design Committee on a public art project headed for the Corps. And I wanted to acknowledge Steve Miller. And we met this morning. We're getting very close on the MOU, and we look forward to working locally on that project. Thanks again.
Stephen, I'm going to give you the opportunity for you to tell us about your cookies.
So I have been known to make a few cookies. I have made, as of today, and given away all of my cookies, 20,123. And I will continue to give away to at least 100,000. And once I hit that, I'll keep going. But I'm slightly changing it. 100,000 is about 1 million morsels. So I'm going to give away 1 million morsels to our community.
You didn't happen to bring any, did you?
I did not bring any this morning, though. That's not why you asked.
The million morsel munch.
I will have to bring some by.
All right, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, now we'll move to our 9:20 timed item, which is North Star Forest Flyer, third-party appeal, request to continue appeal public hearing to future date and time to be renoticed. Mr. Johnson.
Good morning. Michael Johnson with the Community Development Resource Agency. The project before you is a third-party appeal of an approval by the Planning Commission for the Forest Flyer project up at North Star. The project was considered by the Planning Commission at its May 23rd meeting, and after receiving public testimony, the Planning Commission unanimously approved that project. A third-party appeal was filed by Greg Gatto with Stoll Reeves, and that was done on behalf of the Aspen Grove Homeowners Association. On July 9th, the county received a letter from the applicant, Vail Resorts, requesting that this item be continued off calendar. They wanted additional time to research the issues raised in the appeal. County staff contacted the appellant, and they were accepting of the continuance off calendar. Staff is recommending that this item be continued off calendar, at which time it will be renoticed both to the applicant, the appellant, and all interested parties. Staff looks forward to your recommendation.
Any comments from board members? Anyone? Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would just ask that, following up on LA's comments, if there's an opportunity to hear this either at our October meeting or hold, if necessary, a special meeting in the area, that would probably be very helpful in terms of getting public input from the community.
Yes.
Anyone in the audience wish to address the board on this item? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
I move that we continue the third-party public appeal to a future date and time to be renoticed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue the item. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. The item is moved. Now we will move to our department items. Administrative Services Ordinance, Transiency Occupancy Tax. Jerry, comments? Yeah, sure. That's good.
Chairman Holmes. Jerry Gammas, Director of Administrative Services, members of the board. Today, I'm reintroducing an ordinance amending Article 416 of the Transient Occupancy Tax. It was first introduced to your board back during the April 23rd, 2013 meeting, and it was primarily to update the section of the ordinance that was due to sunset on September 2012. This was to extend it over to September 2022 as a result of the voter-approved Measure F. In addition, we had some other minor updates, what we believe were minor at the time, to 8 sections of the ordinance to make it a little bit more manageable and from an auditing perspective. For those of you who are maybe watching on TV and don't know what TOT is, Transit Occupancy Tax, TOT, is levied on the privilege of occupying a room or other living space in a hotel, inn, tourist home, or house, motel, or other lodging for a period of 30 days or less. TOT is authorized under the State Revenue and Taxation Code and Placer County Ordinance. In Placer County, this tax is levied at a rate of 10% and 8%, depending on the location of the rental unit. So we have 2 TOT areas here in Placer County, and these are for the unincorporated areas of Placer County. The first is here in North Lake Tahoe Transit Occupancy Area, which is the 10% tax, and then the second is the Western Slope Transient Occupancy Tax Area. Just as a matter of more information and background, we manage about 3,600 certificates, with the lion's share being here in the Eastern Slope. This chart here represents what those numbers are for the 2 slopes, whether it's the East or the Western Slope. Through this process, I know a lot of questions were being asked about how much was generated in the Western Slope. And as you can see, the Western Slope, in the unincorporated areas, we only have 27 operators. So it's truly apples to orange seeds. It's not even an orange yet. It's very small. Another item of note is that there's 64 management companies that actually manage the majority of the TOT certificates here in Placer County. Board direction given during your April 23rd meeting was to expand on the waiver and appeal process and also expand on the community outreach initiatives. Section 6 of the ordinance as being proposed today actually addressed the waiver and appeal process based on your board's recommendations. And we updated the ordinance to include and ensure that the board participation continued in the appeal process. The major change there is that the appeal process will happen at the county executive office level, and then the recommendation we brought to the board for a final decision. So the board could either approve, amend, or deny the appeal based on the county executive office's recommendation. In addition, we expanded our community outreach initiatives in addition to the two previous presentations, one to the North Lake Tahoe Resort Association on April 3rd, and the second to the Tahoe Sierra Board of Realtors on April 16th. We sent out approximately 3,600 letters and emails and hosted 4 community outreach meetings to solicit input on the proposed ordinance updates. Very interesting process. Had everyone from a single home certificate holder to a resort association or a resort facility participating in our meetings, so I got to learn a lot about what happens at the operator end of the TOT collection process. With all the recommendations that we received at these community outreach meetings and via mail and email, we went ahead and reconvened our group, which consisted of the auditor's office, the county council, our revenue service division, and the county executive office, and these updates have now all been inputted and updated into the sections of the ordinance that we're asking for your approval to amend through this process. With that, I'm available for any questions or any public comment that your board might see fit.
Questions from board members?
I want to thank Jerry, you, for doing the additional outreach on this. I know there were some questions and concerns both from the board and from the community that collects the transient occupancy tax. And I think Supervisor Duran is not here today, but he had a number of concerns that I think were very well addressed within the update and the staff report. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for making sure that his concerns and the community concerns were addressed.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Anyone in the audience wish to address the board on this item? Here we go. Good morning again.
Good morning, Ellie Waller, Tahoe Vista resident. There are some locations in Tahoe Vista and Kings Beach that are currently on the books that should be collecting TOT that are being run as affordable housing. And I'm sure that the area plan update and implementation is going to take care of some of that. I just hate to see the county lose their TOT base on those operations. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board? Seeing none, we'll bring it back.
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the ordinance for the transient occupancy tax. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 4, Community Development Resource Agency Tahoe Basin Community Plan Update. Crystal Jacobson, good morning.
Thank you. I'm Crystal. This is really high. Shorter than the others. Crystal Jacobson with Placer County Planning Services, and I'm here today. We do have a PowerPoint, I think, coming up. Here we go. To talk about our efforts to update the community plans in the Tahoe Basin. So just some real quick background. I know I've been over this with you before, but as directed by your board in July 2011, we do continue efforts to update our community plans in the basin and implement what we're calling the Tahoe Basin Community Plan Work Program. So as you know, the county currently maintains 9 community and general plans in the basin. And as part of this update process, we are proposing to consolidate those into one overarching policy documents with 4 I need to, it's my responsibility to click the slides, sorry about that, with 4 sub-plan areas. The 4 plan areas have been identified for the purposes of preparing these 4 development codes, otherwise known as area plans, as part of the TRPA process. So just to talk about progress to date, again, we've had ongoing coordination with TRPA. They do have a staff team that's assigned to our project, so we've been working with them, reviewing our work as it relates to the regional plan and code. We have held 13 community workshops and focused team meetings, 3 town hall meetings, and we just held a Kings Beach Vision Charrette kind of workshop series, which I'll talk a little bit more about here in a minute. We've had stakeholder interviews and the regular updates to your board and to the NITRAC. We did hold a planning commission workshop to address key issues. We anticipate holding another one towards the end of summer.
We've collected a lot of background materials, prepared a background report, which is feeding into a community plan existing conditions report, which should be out, released to the public towards the end of summer. We're looking at August for that. We've also prepared preliminary draft district standards, which have been used to fold into a development code template, which is out right now for internal review. In addition to that, we've prepared some preliminary draft zone district maps for the commercial cores at this point. And then prepared a draft, administrative draft economic market analysis. This piece is really background material for the community plan update. It is out right now for internal review, and it will be released to the public with that existing conditions report that I spoke of earlier. So just to talk about kind of our progress since my last update to your board in April, we have conducted 4 focused plan area team meetings to further discuss land uses and scale, and so those are with the 4 different citizen advisory teams that we have. We have began working with consultants. We had contracted with them back when I met with you in April, and so we've began working with the consultants on the preparation of the community plan update. Again, as I just spoke of, we have developed some draft, like a template for the development code that's being circulated internally at this point. And then that economic market analysis, which is also being circulated internally. And then we conducted this Kings Beach vision charrette process, which I want to talk to you a little bit more about here in a minute. So a charrette, for those of you that don't know, is an intensive planning session or kind of series of workshops where community designers and other land use professionals and the public all come together and collaborate on a vision for development. The Kings Beach Vision Charrette was a 3-day charrette, and it was intended to further the plan area team's vision. So the citizen advisory team that we have established here in the county that's working in the Kings Beach area, the idea was to kind of further the visioning work that they had done, to really engage in a deeper dialogue with the public regarding the future of Kings Beach, and then to kind of graphically illustrate what that vision would be. And so the scope of that was really the Kings Beach commercial core and the recreational areas on the beach side. So the charrette ultimately will result in this kind of a vision plan, which is a booklet that is intended to inform the community plan update and also the area plan, that development code for Kings Beach. So this process was launched with early engagement of agencies and the public to seek background information and input. We did hold a meeting with key agencies first to get their feedback and make sure that we had gathered the information needed to hold the charrette. And then we also had what we call a pre-charrette workshop in June, where we invited the public to participate and provide early input as well. And then the charrette itself, like I said, was a 3-day kind of series of workshops, and it was held last week. It was July 16th through the 18th. It included 2 public open house sessions on July 16th to get some more input. And then it was an open door kind of working design session on the times where we didn't have public sessions. So we had an open door design session all day on the 17th where the community designers, the consultants worked way into the night. And then again, the same thing for the 18th, followed by a final public presentation the night of the 18th. So the idea was to invite people to come in. They could come in during the day when the designers were working and comment on the work, provide more input, and just kind of generally see what they were doing. I think what's important to note is that this charrette process was supported by our plan area team. So the team worked directly with the designers to kind of convey their vision. So they were really a part of the charrette process. They had direct access to the designers at all times. The final presentation included some key principles and a multiple vision renderings and plans that were reflective of that vision. Generally, I think we got really good feedback. I think folks were really excited about seeing their vision kind of come to life. That vision plan booklet that I spoke of earlier, that will be available in about 3 to 4 weeks and will be posted on our website. So what I wanted to do real quick is just to kind of walk you through some of the plans. This plan view is a little blurry, and I apologize for that. But this is, right here is the actual vision plan, and that'll be published in the booklet. We also have that uploaded to our website, as well as the final presentation has also been uploaded, and those key principles are on our website as well. So really the idea here, though, is that we listen to the public, listen to the team, and then try to illustrate it on a plan of what the team would like to see. And these green arrows right here are really connections, connecting the recreational areas to the other recreational areas that exist up here in the U.S. Forest Service lands. This dotted line that you see here is a boardwalk. We heard over and over again from folks that they'd like to see a promenade kind of go through the entirety of the commercial core of Kings Beach along the beach area. And then these are just some renderings, kind of an idea of, improving or enhancing outdoor pedestrian areas. And then this is a kind of a staging area for music venues. Right now they do music on the beach. The idea here is to kind of reorient that venue so that folks can look out at the beach and listen to music at the same time. So that's just a rendering to illustrate that. And then one of the key kind of concepts that came about with the team and through the charrette process from the public had to do with this idea of bringing back the hot pools. Apparently there used to be some hot pools in Kings Beach. I was maybe not around during that time, but and so we tried to illustrate what that could look like if this project was implemented. So this would be anywhere in that recreational area down there near the core, kind of outdoor hot pools, if you will. There's also a concept, this right here would be an indoor hot pool. So presumably you could take this concept and it would kind of go into the winter months as well. Folks get done skiing and they might want to come down here, eat at a restaurant, sit in a hot pool, that kind of idea, concept. This is the public pier. I know there's been a lot of talk about this prior to the charrette, this idea of a public pier with water transport here. You can see the hot pools kind of over in this area. But this would be taking that existing launch area and making it kind of a non-motorized launch is what we heard, and then just having this public pier that extends way out. So there's a rendering for that. And then this is the boardwalk promenade rendering that I had mentioned. This came up over and over again. In fact, it's come up this whole last year with our team about a desire to have some sort of boardwalk in Kings Beach. And we've also heard over and over this idea that, it's not really an idea, it's fact that the sand, as you can see right here, they're losing their sand. Kings Beach feels like the community has indicated that they feel that a lot of the sand is kind of, coming off the beach areas. And so we looked at ways to, for environmental restoration gain, to try to maintain the sand on the beach, and then also there's a lot of parking down here in the commercial core area in that recreational area near the PUD building. And so there was a lot of talk about how, that's a prime location for either, environmental restoration or just trying to enhance the recreational components in here. So the idea is to bring in some landscaping and a boardwalk and try to kind of maintain that beach area. We also heard about closing down Brook Avenue and creating a kind of pedestrian-oriented streetscape. And so this was a rendering showing, this is Brook Avenue right here, which terminates at that the PUD area there at the recreational site. So the idea would be to close that down and have kind of outdoor markets. So we illustrated that. This is showing, this is an interesting one. It shows the notion of having some sort of kind of anchor boutique hotel in the existing, this is kind of a hotel corridor that you see here. But what's important about this is that this is the scale that the team has envisioned for Kings Beach. So this is scaled up at 36 feet. So it just shows in terms of what it would look like from a community character perspective, kind of maintaining that small scale character in Kings Beach, and we tried to illustrate that here. Same sort of thing, this is looking west. This is where the old KFC site was, and so this building right here actually, the team had envisioned up to 48 feet, and so this is to scale at 48 feet. It also is 4 stories, which would be allowable under TRPA code. So this is just demonstrating what that would look like from a community character standpoint. And then finally, this one, we got a lot of comments that this rendering wasn't exactly what folks wanted, but this is the intersection of 267 and 28. There's a lot of talk about creating a gateway, some sort of visual gateway. And generally, this area, I think they did a good job here showing that this could be a little kind of a visitor information station where people could come in. There'd be a bike trail right here. Maybe a interpretive pedestrian trail going up Griff Creek, so doing some environmental restoration work on Griff Creek. And then, but what folks would like to see here is a roundabout. So we're going to, and I know that was, there was a lot of dialogue about a roundabout in that intersection with the Kings Beach Commercial Core Improvement Project. And so I think the designers are going to go back to the table now, and they're going to show that in a rendering, what that could look like, and then we could kind of move from there. If the county, chooses to implement that, we could, but we'll at least show it in the vision plan. So finally, in terms of next steps, the consultants will work again to create that Kings Beach vision plan booklet. Should be available in 3 to 4 weeks, and it'll be posted to our webpage, so anybody could take a look at that. They're also preparing that existing conditions report with that economic market piece, and that should be available in August. And then on August 28th, we're going to have a Tahoe City Vision Options Plan. It's going to be a public review and workshop of the vision work that had been done in Tahoe City. Now that piece, and I know I've talked to you about this before, that was done, sponsored by the Resort Association, the PUD, and downtown business owners. So it was really prepared for the downtown business kind of stakeholders. And it was done last summer. There's been a lot of talk in the community about wanting to kind of look at that and talk about the various different components and see if we want to pull any of those into the work that we're doing. We've had one meeting with the team already on that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually hold a public workshop, do some surveys about all the principles and the concepts that were contained in that plan, and then modify any of those concepts based upon the survey results and pull them into our plan. So we're going to be doing some further visioning work in Tahoe City in that regard. And what's important is the team will be definitely a part of that process as well. What we'll do is we'll hold follow-up meetings with the Tahoe City team to ensure that we're capturing their vision and bringing it forward. The idea is, again, to bring their vision to life, as well as Tahoe City and Kings Beach are both really viewed as opportunity sites under the TRPA regional plan. They are the town centers. So we definitely want to kind of further their vision as well. And then we will have a town hall meeting on September 11th, and that will be in Kings Beach. And we'll provide a report on all this visioning work to the broader North Tahoe community at that meeting. And then we'll be reporting to the NITRAC. I'll provide another presentation like this at their September meeting. And then we anticipate holding a Planning Commission public workshop in mid to late September, again, reporting on this visioning work that we're doing to the Commission. And then starting in September, we're going to have kind of topical policy public workshops. So those are really the key elements of the community plan policy document. And there'll be a series of workshops that'll start in September and run through November. Again, more opportunity for the public to weigh in during those workshops. And then we anticipate our administrative draft documents and environmental analysis to launch in early 2014. And then, of course, regular updates to your board, TRPA, and NITRAC. I want to point out that we are 2 years into this process. We anticipated early on, with the approval of the work program by your board, that this would be anywhere from 2 to 5 years. And so we are, actually 3 to 5 years, I think, is what we anticipated. So we're 2 years into that. It looks like we'll probably be coming in at about 3.5 to 4 years, probably 4 years, more than likely. So we are definitely, I think, on track. And then in terms of just the overall involvement of the team and their participation, we will be having, once we come out with draft documents, we will be including them still in the process and making sure that we have some follow-up workshops with the teams so that they can review the admin draft documents as we move forward. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great update. Anybody?
Crystal, the September 11th meeting, do we have a time yet for that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay. I want to get it on my calendar.
Yeah, and all of that is posted on our website. All of our upcoming meetings are posted. All the times and venues are secure. You can go on there and take a look, too, including those topical workshops that are held in the fall.
The issue of expanding the pier, Kings Beach, you mentioned non-motorized launch. Would that be in addition to the existing motorized launch or at the exclusion of?
I wouldn't say exclusion. The idea is to relocate the motorized launch to the Tahoe Vista side, and I'm not a part of the larger dialogue that's going on there, so my participation has been through the charrette process. But I know that the CTC has had conversations about moving the motorized part off of the commercial core, taking the existing small, that's a pretty small launch right there that's in Kings Beach, and having that be just non-motorized, and then having the public pier for waterborne transport. But not necessarily getting rid of motorized launch, but just relocating it to a more appropriate location.
While it is small, my experience, having used it, is that it's fairly well utilized. Is there the capacity at Tahoe Vista, or are we creating a fairly substantial problem by driving that much traffic during the peak months into that Tahoe Vista launch?
You know, I'm unsure about the capacity in terms of peak traffic, you know, and whether or not that
the bigger
launch
issue
can-
isn't just getting them in and out in Tahoe Vista. It's what do you do with the trailers and all the rest once the boats are in the water. And there certainly is an existing a surplus of existing parking there for trailers, and so my concern would be taking that. It seems that when you have an existing use that's well utilized, eliminating that entirely doesn't necessarily inure to the benefit of those that have grown to use it. Now, is there a way to make compatible, make the two coexist? You have motorized launch on one side of the pier and non-motorized on the other side. And I just, when you have a use that's utilized by the public and you know that by eliminating it, you may very well be creating some additional issues with traffic movement, especially with the trailers and those folks going to find a place to park. I think we ought to be very careful in how we look at that, what it would do downstream there in Tahoe Vista, if you will.
Okay. There's a lot of dialogue still going on about that pier. I know that I believe the pier is largely designed, so the design for it is there, but they certainly haven't come in for any permitting of the pier. And in fact, I know that there was discussions about actually where to locate that pier and whether or not, you know, we keep that piece, that public access piece for motorized vehicles there. So I think we're kind of very early on in the process, and I'll certainly bring your comments forward. I won't be assigned that project specifically, but I will certainly make sure your comments come forward in this process.
Thank you.
And Supervisor Euler, if I may, one of the real intents behind the Vision Charrette was to actually bring our other partners into this North Tahoe PUD, the state parks, Tahoe Conservancy, all of whom currently actually have sort of jurisdiction over those pieces. And so part of the intent of the charrette was to make sure that those very issues start to get talked about internally and externally with the community. Not sure the last time you were over in the Tahoe Vista area, but the North Tahoe PUD did actually put in some fairly robust boat parking, and I know they're very sensitive as well to your concerns. So believe me, it's being thought about and it's being discussed. So appreciate you bringing it up.
Sure. Well, and also, obviously, what we're hoping for with the revitalization of the Kings Beach area is the opportunity for longer stays and all that, but we will still have a substantial day use component. And by eliminating the motorized launch component of that, what's the unintended consequence of what we're doing to traffic that would otherwise be day use traffic, spending their money in Kings Beach and pulling their boats out and then leaving at the end of the day? So what are we doing that might be counterproductive to our effort to increase the utilization of the Kings Beach area? So
Right. I appreciate that. I will point out that in that charrette process, too, all 3 days I saw members of those agencies coming and going, and so they also had direct access with the community designers on this. So we definitely, try to reach out to those agencies in this process.
Okay. Any other board comments? Is there anyone in the audience wishes to address the board on this item? I'm shocked. Hi, Ellie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Good morning again. Ellie Waller, member of the North Tahoe West Area Plan Team. My home is in Tahoe Vista, and I live at Lake Tahoe. I attended and participated in a 3-day charrette. The focus of the vision was less than what I expected in the beginning. The mapping at least went from gateway to gateway. One of the North Tahoe East members said we should be focusing on the eyeballs, which we've coined the 2 roundabouts in town. And I really think that it was essential to bring in the Speckled Avenue aspect because some of the movement of the current owners might be proposed up in that area. I'm not sure how much money was put out by the Sustainable Communities Grant for this effort. The Tahoe City Vision is much more in-depth, and I would have liked to seen that for Kings Beach. I don't know if there's additional funds for that. I was skeptical in the beginning of the exercise that it was only focused on the event center. And if truly the CTC, the PUD, and state parks are looking for improvements to capitalize on that location, it could have been advertised just for that commercial core area. I personally, as a resident of North Lake Tahoe, miss the name Community Center. It's a longstanding venue for locals to have weddings, wakes. We conduct meetings there as the Board of Supervisors and the TRPA. I actually suggested moving the library out of the SEZ to be co-located possibly to help that venue, and if there's a proposal for a second floor. I know it needs to be recreational activity there. Maybe the library could be dual usage as an information center for recreation purposes to bring people in. The computers could be used by the public as well as the locals. This is a community asset and should be remain as one and not become privatized, jeopardizing the public's access to the beach. That being said, I still don't know how much money is left in the Sustainable Communities Grant. I know we're focusing on commercial cores, but we just brought up the Tahoe Vista Recreation Center and the parking lot. There are 25 boat parking spaces right now and additional public parking spaces. During the summertime, you'll see a lot of boats up and down National Avenue. That might be another place that we can vision in the future. The access to that park, there was talk of tying in trails during the Kings Beach charrette from Kings Beach to that park. And also, Ed has been brought up now that Squaw Valley is doing their own visioning for an alternative. And instead of burdening the public with all the financing on the alternative, maybe some of the SES grant could be helpful to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board on this item? Seeing none, thank you, Crystal. Appreciate your update. We'll now move to item 4B, Truckee River Corridor Access Plan. Who's here to?
Crystal's presenting that.
Oh, Crystal, you're home. Oh, you're back. Good.
I'm back. I'm filling in for Edmund for this one. He's on vacation. So, so again, Crystal Jacobson, Placer County Planning Services, and I'm here to give you a report on the efforts on the Truckee River Corridor Access Plan. So here is a map of the upper Truckee River watershed, and so the project area is down here in the red that you see. I actually have another map. So I think all of you know that the Truckee River coming out of Lake Tahoe and down into Truckee, so that's kind of the area that we're focusing on. So here's the project area map. So again, it's the corridor access plan includes all areas along the river from Lake Tahoe to the town of Truckee. And then here's the proposed trail alignment. Again, it does go from the Lake Tahoe all the way to the town of Truckee. There are some areas it generally obviously follows the river, generally follows the highway. However, there are some areas where it ventures, kind of veers off of the highway, its alignment and along the river. And so that's what these maps, this is not working, down here are showing. So just to talk about what the project is, this project actually has been ongoing since 2006. It got stalled out for a while because of some funding issues related to the environmental analysis. I think everybody knows that the Truckee River is an important resource. It's a resource for habitat, transportation with the bike and pedestrian trails that are on it, and recreation. We believe it has multiple benefits, including environmental, for restoration benefits, economic, and of course recreation. And so this project really links, it's that piece between Squaw Valley and Truckee that is not existing right now under today. And so basically what this does is it links the trail from Squaw Valley to the town of Truckee. And so this effort is really a coordination of multiple jurisdictions to prepare a single management plan for the corridor access plan. The project enhances the ability of users of the existing Truckee River Trail to continue to the town of Truckee in what would be a safe trail connection. Just to give you some counts, some trail count surveys in 2008 daily peak bike and pedestrian summer users along the existing trail included about 1,200 folks going up and down, so there's a pretty substantial usership of the trail. This project plan also recommends the development of staging areas and other potential low-intensity recreational facilities. So there's some areas along the trail. So while the link is between Squaw Valley and the town of Truckee, the plan includes staging areas for the entirety of the trail from Lake Tahoe to Truckee. And then it also identifies some access improvements for angling and boating from the Fanny Bridge to the town of Truckee, and then identifies restoration projects to enhance water quality along the way. So in terms of the updated where we're at, the U.S. Forest Service has agreed to prepare the NEPA documents. So they've taken the lead on that, and they're preparing a categorical exemption under NEPA. And then a mitigated negative declaration will be prepared under CEQA by the county. And then both the CEQA and the NEPA are projected to be completed in 2014. And then for next steps, after the project would be adopted by your board, the next steps would be securing additional funding to actually construct those portions of the trail that don't exist today. And then other trail-related infrastructure, those staging areas and whatnot. So, and then also ensuring the long-term sustainability of the project through a coordinated and cooperative trail operations and maintenance program, just so that we can ensure the long-term maintenance of the trail. So with that, I'd be happy to answer questions.
Any questions from board members? Seeing none. Anyone in the audience wish to address the board on this item?
Good morning. My name's Ron Trebus. I live in Tahoe City. And I just wanted to point out the importance of this, and that while Crystal did emphasize this being as a link, it's a much bigger link than from Tahoe City to Truckee. That, as you know, we have the resort triangle here that for many years, one of your highest priorities has been to develop the class 1 bike trail that completely goes around this resort triangle. And we have links that are being built all the way. You know, the bike trail that goes from Tahoe City now to Squaw Valley. We have Truckee going gangbusters connecting from the Placer County line along Highway 89 over to the Placer County line in Highway 267. We have the North Star Community Services District working on the trails now for Placer County that will come from that state line down Martis Valley into North Star and eventually up to the crest of the Lake Tahoe Basin. Peter Kratz and DPW are working on a section of this now that goes from Dollar Hill, it's called the Dollar Creek Bike Trail, that starts going toward that potential connection up at the crest where North Star is coming up to. And then we're back onto the completed mileage of Tahoe City Public Utility District, which goes clear down to the Placer County line and is starting to extend now below that in El Dorado County. So this Truckee River corridor link that goes from trail-wise from Squaw Valley up to the Nevada County line is going to be very key to improving this overall Class 1 bike trail system. Just recently, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you before, the Eastern Placer County was awarded a Bicycle-Friendly Community Award by the American League of Bicyclists, which is one of 240 across the world that gives real notoriety positively to the Eastern Placer County as being a biking capital that both affects our residents, our ability to communicate, for employees to commute to work, as well as attracting visitors from all over. So, again, this remains a very important element of our bike trail development here to do the Truckee River Corridor, and we look forward to moving ahead with that. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ron. Anyone else wish to address the board? Good morning again.
I just wanted to further support this project. I mean, I know it's still in the planning stages, but I am an ER doctor up in Truckee, and just last week I took care of a guy that was badly injured riding his bike along the 89 at the edge of the road, cars going 50, 60 miles an hour. Pretty dangerous. It's a very popular trail. I encourage you, as you leave Squaw and head back to Tahoe City and to the west of Placer,
just see how many people are really using that. To have a Class 1 separated bike path would be really key to safety. I know you're going to have some NIMBYites along the river that are opposing this, but I think there's a larger view, and especially I wanted to express the safety issue.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ed Hanneveld. Okay.
Thanks, Ed. Anyone else wish to address the board on this item? All righty. Thank you for the presentation, and we'll move on. Now it's item number 5, District Attorney Agreement with the California Department of Justice. You don't look like Scott Owens.
No, Scott is not here today.
I just let it hang out there, okay.
Good morning. No, I'm not Scott. My name is Nancy, and I'm with the District Attorney's Office. And today our request is to approve an amended agreement with the Department of Justice for forensic alcohol testing, toxicology, drug, and solid dose analysis, and reimbursement of a criminalist for the period of July 1, 2012 through July 30th, 2014 in the amount of $332.936, and authorize the district attorney, upon review and approval by risk management and county council, to execute documents required. A little bit of background on this. On August 24, 2010, your Board of Supervisors approved the initial MOU between the District Attorney and the Department of Justice. The District Attorney's Office has now renegotiated the MOU and 2 related agreements with the Department of Justice to provide forensic alcohol testing services, toxicology, drug analysis services, and analysis of solid dosage drug samples. And this agreement also covers 1 criminalist to provide these services. So we are requesting approval to the amended agreement. Thank you.
Any questions from board members? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address us on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action. It's been moved and seconded to approve item number 5, the district attorney agreement with the California Department of Justice. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Nancy. The item has been moved.
Thank you.
You betcha. And now we'll move to item number 6, Public Works Rio Oso Road Improvement Project. Mr. Kratz.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Happy to be here. Peter Kratz with Public Works. For the record, this item relates to awarding the construction contract for the Riosa Road Improvement Project up in the community of Sheridan in western Placer County. The project consists of constructing over 1,600 feet of curb, gutter, drainage infrastructure, sidewalk, asphalt overlay, and landscaping improvements on Riosa Road between 9th and 12th Streets. The project will improve the pedestrian safety and connectivity within the community and to the school. There are previous roadway improvements in the community funded by a federal state routes to school grant that this project will add and connect to the pedestrian infrastructure built by that state grant. Financially, a lot is going on here with this project. Back in 2007, the local industrial business CEMEX Inc. and Placer County entered into a development agreement in which CEMEX has made installment payments to the county for CEMEX to cover impacts of their business on roadways within the community. Approximately $1.2 million was received for roadway improvements, but we are still short about $280,000 for the project before you today. Section 3.3.6 of the development agreement provides an ongoing payment to the county based on CEMEX aggregate extraction operations. This funding is meant to fund any county projects at your board's discretion. Public Works recommends this funding be used to complete the financing for the project. To fill the short-term funding gap, we recommend traffic impact fees be advanced to fund the project, which will then be reimbursed over time through collection of future CEMEX extraction fees. The county's approved Placer Central CIP, or Capital Improvement Program Fee District, identifies Riosa Road and allows for this type of traffic fee financing with board approval. This fee district has a current balance of $1.3 million, in which a portion can be made available for advancement and subsequent reimbursement by the CMAX extraction funds in the amount of $178,519. The remainder of the shortfall, approximately $100,000, will be financed by the department's road fund. Environmentally, the project was approved through a CEQA negative declaration with the notice of determination filed on May 22nd, 2012. And then, on the construction contract side, the project was competitively bid through the county's Procurement Services Division with Baldwin Contracting Company, Inc., determined to be the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. Should the actions before you be approved today, construction should start next month and continue into spring of next year for anticipated completion. With all that for background information, the formal action we ask of you today is to approve the 4 items before you as stated in the board memo. In summary, they include adopt a resolution awarding the construction contract to Baldwin Contracting Company, Inc. for $825,472, which translates into a net county cost of $178,519. Number 2, authorize the chair to execute the construction contract. Number 3, authorize the Director of Public Works to execute contract change orders up to a certain amount as stated in the memo. And number 4, authorize the advance of Placer Central Fee District funds to be reimbursed with future CMAX extraction royalty funds in accordance with applicable county code. With all that, happy to address any questions you may have, and Public Works is very excited to get going on this project. Thanks.
Any questions from board members? Anyone in the audience wish to address the board on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Approval, and thanks staff, County Exec's Office, as well as Public Works for all the work. It's going to be a great enhancement to Sheridan, so appreciate it tremendously.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the item just stated. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the item is moved. Thank you, Peter. We'll now move to item 6B, Rollins Lake Road Safety Improvement Project Contract Award.
Yes, again, for the record, Peter Kratz here on item 6B for Public Works. This item relates to awarding the construction contract for the Rollins Lake Road project on Rollins Lake Road, believe it or not, from Norton Grade Road to You Bet Lane, which is about 1.5 miles north of the city of Colfax and just east of Highway 174. This safety improvement project consists of widening shoulders of the road at several locations, installing new guardrail, upgrading existing guardrail, installing curve warning signs, and applying a micro-surfacing seal to about 1.5 miles of Rollins Lake Road. The sealant will increase the skid resistance of the road surface. In addition, part of the hill slopes near the Rollins Lake Road and Norton Grade Road intersection will be cut back to improve sight distance. The purpose of this project is to improve the safety of this section of Rollins Lake Road that has a history of vehicular accidents. In fact, between 2004 and 2009, there were 18 various vehicular accidents. No fatalities, but it is a curvy road that triggered what we're proposing to do today. Environmentally, a CEQA categorical exemption was approved for the project on June 18th of 2012, and a NEPA categorical exclusion was approved by Caltrans on November 29th, 2012. We needed a NEPA document because of the federal funding we're using for this project. On the construction side, the project was competitively bid through the county's Procurement Services Division with Western Engineering Contractors, Inc., determined to be the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. Fiscally, the construction and construction management costs are estimated to total $680,000, funded primarily with competitively sought Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program grant dollars totaling $578,500. The remainder of the funding will mainly come from local traffic impact fees with no net county cost. So with all that said, should the actions before you be approved today, construction should start next month and be complete by October 2013 or possibly slip into next year. We do not anticipate major impacts to traffic. We do recognize that it's near the Rollins Reservoir that gets high traffic activity on the weekends. Construction will not be allowed on the weekends to recognize the need for traffic. And one lane will be required to be open at all times during construction. With the preceding background information, the formal action we ask of you today is to approve the 3 items before you as stated in the board memo. In summary, they include, number 1, adopt a resolution awarding the construction contract to Western Engineering Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $549,450 with no net county cost. And number 2, authorize the chair to execute the construction contract. And number 3, authorize the Director of Public Works to execute contract change orders up to a certain amount as stated in the board memo. And with that, happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
Peter, I want to thank you and your staff for being aware of the issues with the reservoir and the public use of that and how much use it really does get. So thank you for your mindfulness to that. I did, back in late 1986, I think, or possibly early 87, live up on Cape Horn, and I used to come down Norton Grade, and that cut back there that you're going to be doing is really important. That is such a difficult intersection, and I've had a lot of folks there just east of the Colfax area say, you know, what's the county going to do about that? So thank you for being so proactive and really getting out in front of an issue. As you say, there's been no fatalities there, but it's just a question of time unless we take these actions, so thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Any other comments? Anyone in the audience wish to address the board on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to board for approval.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Rollins Lake Road Safety Improvement Project. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none. Thank you, Peter. Great presentation. I don't know if we're going to have time to do this next one. Just want to make sure you're paying attention, okay? County Executive, North Lake Law, Transit Occupancy Tax, Community House Wayfinding Signage.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Jennifer Merchant with the CEO's office here in Tahoe, and welcome. The recommended expenditure of $550,000 in TOT funds will support two projects, the Community House and Phase 1 of an area-wide wayfinding signage program in the North Lake Tahoe area. And the project details are as follows. The Community House allocation recommended is $400,000. Your board did hear a presentation from the Truckee Tahoe Community Foundation about the Community House project at your last Tahoe meeting. Briefly, the Community House is a single-stop service facility that will house the Tahoe Safe Alliance, North Tahoe Family Resource Center, and Project Mana. In order to maintain alignment with the recommended tourism occupancy tax fund source, the funding requested will be dedicated to specific components of the Community House project, including land and development costs for 15 shared-use parking spaces in the downtown core area of Kings Beach, 300 feet of sidewalks, which abut two sides because this project is on a corner, so you're getting two corners worth of sidewalks with the project. Building facade improvements, which are visible from the downtown core on Highway 28, and public meeting space available at the facility. Additionally, the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation has agreed to deed 8 tourist accommodation units formerly associated with the previous motel use to Placer County to utilize as a development incentive for a future hotel or motel project in the North Lake Tahoe area. The total Community House project, which is, we've got an artist rendering right here, in case you didn't notice, is $175 million. Other funding has been generated for this project, including MHSA funds. Wait, did I say the wrong number? I can't read my own notes. I knew I should have worn my glasses. $1.75 million. It's big, but it's not that big. So, other funding has been generated from MHSA funds, First Five Placer, the S.H. Cowell Foundation, and private donors. The facility is expected to open in the fall. The second project I'm here to recommend funding for you today is Phase 1 of the Wayfinding Signage Program for $150,000. And you may recall that previous action has been taken by your board to fund development of a Tahoe area wayfinding signage master site plan as recommended by the Resort Association, as well as to implement some pilot signage projects. And I've got, I think, a couple of slides. Yeah. This one was associated with the implementation of the Tahoe City Transit Center, and there were, I think I've got 2 slides here, yes, of the Transit Center signage that was associated with the pilot project with the center and funded with TOT dollars about a year ago. And today's recommendation would allocate $150,000 for engineering, permitting, and construction of an estimated 15 wayfinding signs in North Tahoe. The first complete signs include signage near eastern Placer Gateway areas of Tahoe City, along the West Shore, Kings Beach, and highways 89 and 267, probably 28 too. The wayfinding signage program has identified key destinations and creates a consistent template for sign appearance and messaging. I've got another couple slides here. This slide shows an example of existing signage conditions at the county's Burton Creek. No, that's Squaw Valley, excuse me, at Squaw Valley entrance here. And the next one is a rendering of what that would look like under the current program. So consistent with the pilot project signs that you saw associated with the transit center. And there would be 15 total. This would be one of the potential ones in phase 1. So that concludes my remarks, and I believe there may be some folks in the audience who may want to comment on a couple of these. Happy to answer any questions as well.
Yeah, Jennifer, before you leave, as I recall, the new signage for the fire department and the Tahoe City PUD right there at Fairway and 28 is one of the versions of this new signage. Is that correct?
Yes, those are other examples of the pilot program. I didn't include all of them today.
Yeah, that's a great sign. I just, I like it every time I drive by. Yeah. And I wanted to touch bases just a little bit on the community house funding request, and just really, I'm obviously very supportive of this request. I would love to just say let's support this because it's this great community asset, but I think it's really important to point out the nexus with the transient occupancy tax and what that is intended to fund. We're still struggling with parking in Kings Beach in terms of the redevelopment. This will help, on those busy weekends to add 15 spaces. And hopefully someday we'll have a community that has great connectivity with sidewalks throughout it. This helps us get there. Frankly, I'm just delighted that Community House and, TTCF is moving forward with this.
I'm glad to hear you say that. And it is a rather unconventional project for TOT funds. I think the last very community-specific project that was funded with TOT funds was the Boys and Girls Club, and really has developed into a significant positive asset in a community. And I really think the social service side of the funding allocation is really an added bonus, the soft infrastructure, as we call it, to the very directly related tourism components that were recommended here very specifically for that purpose, to draw that very clear line to the funding source.
Absolutely. And again, I think the group meeting space, those are going to be a lot of community groups that meet there, but obviously many of them open to the larger public, visitors who come up, whether it's Alcoholics Anonymous or, NA or any of those kinds of meetings. That's going to be a facility where potentially not just local community members go and use, but visitors here in the community, or to the community. So I'm, again, absolutely delighted to see this in front of us.
And specifically regarding the parking, and that section of Kings Beach has been identified as still having a shortfall for the parking that's being removed as part of the Kings Beach project. So the availability of this parking on weekends, holidays, and evenings is definitely going to assist meeting that or closing that gap in parking.
Great. Any other comments from board members? Does anyone in the audience wish to speak to the board on this item?
Hi, Ron Trebus again with the North Lake Tahoe Resort Association. And just to make sure, which I think is in your staff report, that you're all aware that this, both of these projects did go through the community-wide Infrastructure Transportation Committee and the Resort Association Board of Directors, receiving unanimous approval to go ahead and move forward with these. The community house, as you've heard very clearly from Jennifer and Will, is just a real attribute to the community, as well as to the overall business community of Kings Beach for the parts of the money that will be used for various parts of the development. On the wayfinding signage program, this has been going on for a long time, and we did, again, through TOT funding that you approved, prepare an overall wayfinding signage guidelines manual that just shows various types of signage that do all relate to one another, so that when these are developed throughout the greater North Lake Tahoe area, they will be of a design and a shape that, aha, there's something that tells me where to go and what type of information I can get. We followed that up by preparing a wayfinding signage master plan that actually shows about 63 of these throughout the whole area, and then this becomes phase one of that. And as of tomorrow morning, with the assistance of Peter Kratz of DPW, we're meeting with Caltrans to work on encroachment permits. Almost all of these are in Caltrans right away, so they're the key approval source, but they have been involved in the development of this. But once again, these have had full approval through the community process that you've set up and the Resort Association Board. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Good morning.
Hi, Phoebe Bell of the Tahoe Tricky Community Foundation. And real briefly, I know you've heard from me before about the Community House Project and what great impact it's going to have on the Kings Beach community, the incredible services, many of which are represented here today that will be present there, and all of that. But mostly today, I actually wanted to reiterate what Jennifer and Ron have said, which is this particular request today really is a strong tie-in with the intended purpose of those TOT dollars. It was actually pretty exciting to watch some of the earlier presentations today and the kind of visioning for the future of Kings Beach, and to realize how well this project fits into that, between the parking spots, the facade improvements, the sidewalks. If some of those things come to be, just the increased demand in that central core there for parking and sort of public infrastructure is really going to be huge, and it's exciting to be a part of that. And we just really appreciate what a great partner Placer County has been in this project from the get-go. So many different capacities, so many different people throughout the county have been invaluable, and just really appreciate the time in front of you today. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board? Good. Well, we'll bring it back.
Move approval of the item.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the North Lake Tahoe Transit Occupancy Tax Community House and Wayfinding signage. Easy for you to say. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The item is moved. Congratulations. All right, thank you. What? You couldn't resist.
Well, I waited until you approved it anyway. Teresa Mae Duggan, I'm working on the Community House Project. And the next time you hear from us will be your personal invitation to be at a ribbon cutting in the fall. So I cannot thank you enough. I'm head of the fundraising committee, and today we have completed 100% of the construction budget. There's still opportunity, though, to give to the maintenance endowment. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Oh, that's it. Oh, they're leaving.
They're done with us.
Oh, okay, all right. All righty, the board will now go into closed session, and I'll turn it over to County Council.
The board will now adjourn to closed session to deal with the items listed on the agenda under existing litigation, County of Placer versus Bender, County Placer Citizens against Gridlock versus County, Sierra Club versus County, two workers' compensation cases, and one item of anticipated litigation. The board will also meet as the Placer County successor agency to discuss one item of anticipated litigation.
Jared, you feel like no one's paying attention to you?
but it's not unusual.
Yeah. Okay.
The board has returned from closed session where they discussed the items listed in County of Placer versus Allen Bender. The board gave direction to staff in Placer Citizens Against Gridlock and Sierra Club versus Board of Supervisors. The board authorized one further extension of the stay of the litigation to October 10th. In the two workers' compensation cases, the board gave direction to staff, and in one matter of anticipated litigation, significant exposure, the board gave direction to staff. And then the board also met as the Placer County successor agency and heard a report on anticipated litigation and gave direction to the successor agency staff. That concludes the closed session report. That included the supplemental.
Yeah, oh yes, we're now adjourned.